Cash is king after a hurricane. ATMs aren't going to be working. Credit cards aren't going to be working. We all know that. So make sure that you have some cash on hand, because that's going to be the best way to get items and procure stuff. Now we're going to talk about, because we know a lot of people are on tight budgets right now, especially with, inflation and everything else that's been going on. Prices have been going up like crazy. So some of these things are things that you can pick up at like your local dollar store. Some canned or dried foods like the pork and beans I got there. I got a can of tuna. Basic things, but it keeps you fed. The flashlight, the batteries, cleaning supplies, just bandages, and the whistle. You can get all of those at like a Family Dollar or Dollar Tree, something like that. And they're not going to be too expensive, and that at least gives you a starter kit to kind of keep yourself safe if you are sheltering in place. And there's also things that you can think about in your house already that you have, like whatever you have some gallon jugs or 2 liter bottles, save them, clean them up with bleach, and then fill them with water, and then you have that water already on hand. And we're going to have on the next slide here kind of talking about how you can calculate how much water you actually need for each person for each day. When you're grocery shopping, keep in mind how long the food lasts. Focus on those non-perishable food items during hurricane season. I understand we all want to, have fruits and vegetables if we can get them, maybe some meat, but those are going to be perishable. And, if we lose power, they're not going to keep. So really stock up on those canned good items, on those boxed food items, things like that. Crackers, chips, and like pork and beans or, red beans, something like that to keep yourself going. And then also assemble that first aid kit throughout the hurricane season here. Get those bandages, the antiseptic, any other materials that you have on hand. You don't have to go buy a fancy first aid kit, from Walmart or somewhere like that. That's going to cost a lot of money. You can just kind of assemble it all together, and just put it like in a Ziploc bag or something like that. And then you'd have some of the basics that you need to stay safe. And also, you don't really need to buy any special cleaning supplies. Just use the cleaning supplies that you have on hand already. And if you are running low, then now's the time to go out and get that stuff before we have the storms really start to fire up. Because climatologically, the most likely time for us to have hurricanes in this area is August and September. That's when the majority of our hurricanes happen. So we do have a little bit of time here in June and into July to really prepare and get ready for the if we do have a storm headed our way later this year. Prepare early. Avoid the lines. We all know all of a sudden there's a hurricane that's forecast to come into our area, and that's when everybody goes to the store. And the lines are crazy and the shelves are empty. And we've all seen that. So, now or in the days leading up to the storm, like if it looks like maybe something's going to be coming in 7 or 8 days, that's when you can go out to the store, maybe beat the rush and pick up on some of those things that you think you might need. Like if you wanted to get some bread or something like that, because those are going to be things that go really fast. Make sure you have what you need by preparing your disaster supply kit well ahead of time. That's what we're really emphasizing, is getting out there right now and getting some of those things that you need, like I talked about before, the batteries, the flashlights, the canned goods and things like that. Get them now, because they're gonna be there, and then you don't have to worry about that. So now we're gonna talk about how much water do you need, and this is really, really important because, as we know, and this happened after Ida, the water, it's not going to be safe to drink. There's going to be boil advisories because the power's gone out, something's gone, the water system is failing. Same thing after Katrina. It took a long time to get the water system back on in a lot of the city. You should have 1 gallon of water per person per day for at least 3 days. So it's a pretty simple calculation here. So 1 gallon times 4 times 3 days equals 12 gallons of water in your supply kit. So have those gallon jugs, like I said, when you go buy milk or something like that, save it up, clean it out with bleach, and then put some fresh water in there and just have it stored away somewhere. And then you have that water in place, and you're good to go for the next storm that rolls through.